time is now. Welcome back to the Time is Now podcast. Thank God we could be here together today. On this podcast, we speak to entrepreneurs from all industries and figure out what makes them tick, where they came from, what business means to them, and how they achieve success. I'm Dr. Slava, a doctor of physical therapy, serial entrepreneur, and your host. All right, welcome to Questions and Answers with me, Dr. Slava. Today we had a beautiful rainy day here in Southern California where it never rains. So we had a massive downpour. But because of the downpour, what a beautiful blessing. We saw a good amount of patients. And then we have time so I could do my questions and answers. And every time we do this, we have so much fun. We get so many questions answered, and it's a good time. So I'm gonna open it up to anybody, any of the staff here who are behind the camera. Not everybody wants to be seen in front of the camera. So are there any questions on anything? It could be medical, it could be financial, it could be real estate, it could be personal, it could be development, mindset, anything that I deal with on a daily basis. And I even said it could be fashion. So I open up to all of you.
I have a question.
Let's go in the row.
Go ahead.
Can you tell us why you got into physical therapy? What is your full reason behind it?
So that's a great question. It goes back to my history. The question was, how did I get into physical therapy? It started with a dream. When I was a little kid, I dreamed about being a doctor. I didn't know what kind of doctor at the time, but I knew I wanted to be a doctor and a part-time basketball player. Quickly, I found out that I'm not going to be a professional basketball player. Right? That was, I was too slow, didn't jump high enough, and I definitely didn't have the skills to be a professional basketball player. Although I was quite a baller in my time, I could dunk. It was pretty cool. I was a lot smaller, but that's how it started. But I did want to be a doctor. And as I went through school and I was pre-med, I did not get along with the pre-med department. I had a bunch of problems. I transferred twice, and they would not accept some of my credits. It was for ridiculous reasons. So I just never got off good foot with the pre-med department. And I was walking one day in the athletic campus in my school, and they had a program called sports medicine. I was like, wow, what is this sports medicine thing? So I applied. They told me I couldn't get in because I was already a sophomore and you could only get in as a freshman. And as I went through the process, I said, I'm gonna try anyway. Sure enough, 2 people failed out of the program. They called me and like, wow, we have an opening for you in our sports medicine department. I'm like, yay. So I transferred from pre-med to sports medicine. I got a bachelor's in sports medicine. I worked with different teams. It was awesome. I met my future where I went to get my master's degree at the NCAA tournament for my team, and their team was there. And my athletic director knew their athletic director. So they started talking like, this guy's pretty good, like he's confident. One thing I had is confidence. So as we met at the NCAA tournament, he said, come to my school, get a master's degree, we'll pay for it, and you get a master's degree in sports medicine. So that's what I did. As I finished up that program, I got letters in the mail about, applying to these doctor of physical therapy programs. So I said, okay, you're gonna waive the entrance fee, and I could go into these try out for having an interview for these doctor of physical therapy programs, and that's what I did. So I went through the interviews. I got accepted at Drexel University in Philadelphia. I took it, I went, and the rest is history. So it was a progression from, being a kid with a dream. I was lifeguarding for many years, where I got some medical experience and how to work with people. The first aid. I started doing personal training. I did fitness classes in the water. I taught swim lessons, and all those things prepared me to be eventually what I am now. So it was a step-by-step progression, and I took every opportunity that was given to me in school. I learned, and here I am.
I'm gonna be moving into an apartment soon. Any tips?
Do your due diligence. Okay, anytime you get locked into some sort of year contract, make sure, how's the maintenance? What is the fee? Are you locking yourself into a 1 year with a certain amount of potential increases. Now, in California, we have rent control, and that's one of the reasons I don't do real estate in California. And there's a lot of laws about eviction and what they fix, what they don't fix. So make sure you read your bylaws in your contract, how long you're actually in the contract, and what, or if not, miscellaneous fees that they could charge you for parking, common area, and how much increase they can do when your contract is up. So that's a big thing. So if you really like it there, and they have provisions like after 1 year we raise you X amount, you may want to look at that. So everything is negotiable, I just want you to know. As somebody who owns properties, I promise you, everybody wants a good tenant. So more things are negotiable than you think.
Okay.
So I would look at that contract, read it, and see what amenities and what increases and what happens during your contract period, and then when the contract period expires, what is your negotiation power at that point? All right?
You're always speaking about having a positive attitude to the patients and how that helps them heal. Talk to us a little bit about how the mind and the body work together in your practice.
So the question is, how does the mind and body work together as far as positivity? There are piles, and I mean piles of research to support people that have had catastrophic events, and those that were positive had better outcomes than the people who were negative. Now, we see that all the time. You've seen some of my patients that are like, boo-hoo-hoo, everything sucks, all bad, like life is hard, everything's bad. How well do they do? And some of them are young, like they're just, that's the result you're gonna get. So if your mindset going into any treatment, if your mindset is in school, treatment, business, you have a sucky mindset, you're gonna have, everything's gonna suck, right? Now, I'll give you an analogy here in a little bit. And those people who had a positive mindset did better. They just do, and it's all over the literature. So there's a mind-body connection for sure. One of the things that is triggered during pain and discomfort is memory, right? You have a loop that goes from your subconscious brain, the parts of your brain, to the memory centers. So when you have pain, discomfort, it automatically triggers a loop that's sometimes on rewind over and over again in the memory centers to associate that pain, discomfort with emotion, right? So if you notice when I talk to the people, what does positive mindset mean? It's not subconscious, because as we know, how much of your day do you think you spend in a positive mindset, and how much of your day do you spend in a negative loop? Right? Be honest. Do you think you're 50-50 even?
No. I'm not.
Okay,
Sure.
that's good. Do you believe you're 75-25?
I might be.
Okay, so that's good. That's a very good thing. But none of us spend 100% of the time in a positive loop. Not Tony Robbins, not Dr. Slava, not any of these big speakers. Nobody spends 100% of their time in a positive. Like, things will creep in. The question is now, what's your choice? So mindset is a choice. Pain isn't. But your perception of pain is, right? So have you ever heard me say, you're crazy, you're not really in pain? Never.
No.
You never discount the patient. Their pain to them is absolutely real. Now, what the choice is, how do I accept the pain? How do I accept the pain of losing a match? How do I accept the pain of physicality? How do I accept the pain of a loss of a loved one? How do I accept the pain when I lost a business deal? That's a choice, right? So a lot of times you could bypass the emotional centers by having higher level conscious thought. So when you activate higher levels of thinking that are conscious, you actually bypass the emotional loop of the memory. So this is science, right? This isn't like wives' tales, you know, bumble mices. This isn't like, you know, stories. These are real physiological facts. So if you want to bypass an emotional state, which is a choice, you ask questions. Why am I thinking this way? The why and the questioning that you have of yourself is a very useful tool, because again, it bypasses emotion. You're activating higher levels. And when you activate consciously, like a muscle, the positive centers, there's a cascade of physiological events that happen that don't happen in a negative mindset. There is an absolute physiological response to pain in all forms with activation of higher level thought. Right? So the memory sort of is bypassed. However, we do remember things when we're in pain than we're not in pain. So you could actually, if you want to recall something, you attach an emotional state to that and you'll have a better recall. But at the same time, to bypass the recall, you activate higher level centers to bypass the emotional memory. So it's a useful tool to have that conscious thought, to take pain, discomfort, pleasure, or purpose, and you can activate how you need to. Now, when we do, like a muscle, if we don't work our muscles, what's going to happen? You get atrophy. So if you get a cascade of negative thoughts, guess what's going to happen? It's like sitting on the couch, popping bonbons and wondering why you're out of shape, right? So if you want to be in shape, no matter what you're going through, and I'm not saying it doesn't count, it absolutely is real. When you lose a loved one, it is not easy to do this, but it's still your choice, how you handle that. So by using conscious thought, you could bring yourself to a state where you want to be in. And just like a muscle, the more I work out, the more I build those muscles, the more the muscles get big, strong, healthy. The same thing as you could have a purposeful, positive mindset that activates doors that are open neurologically, physiologically, that you couldn't open with a negative mindset. So you really can heal in a positive way by activating consciously positive centers. Make sense? Mm-hmm. And that's why you'll hear somebody that beat cancer, thank God. You know, obviously there's a God component to everything, so you can have all the mindset you want. If it's your time, it's your time. However, God wants you to be positive. And not saying, forget about everything you've been through, or forget your pain, but despite it, we're going to move forward when you can't move on, because the pain is so great. But it's about moving forward. Any questions?
So, as someone who's been in this field and just working in general for 20 plus years, 25 plus years, do you ever feel like burnt out? And what would you say to those who are questioning what they should do after being in a career for so long? If they should retire, if they should change jobs, if they should continue and push forward? Like, how do you deal with, you know, being in a career for so long, and if you get burnt out or anything?
Right. So the question is, do I ever get burnt out? And the
say
follow-up is, if I've been in something so long, how do I keep from burning out?
Yeah.
Right?
How do you keep motivated?
And how do I keep motivated? That's a great question. I get asked this very often. One, I don't have to work if I don't want to. So by seeing patients, I consciously want to see patients and work. And people tell me all the time, you're working so hard. And I tell people in response, like, not really. I don't feel like I'm working so hard, because when you love what you do and you're there because of a why, you know, I have strong whys. My family, patients, people like you that I could help shape, mold, you know, be an example. That's called a leader, right? So I have a lot of things on my shoulders as a leader on my plate. So I don't have time to get burnt out. Because when I'm burnt out, it's all about me. I'm burnt out. That means I can't give you what you deserve or what you need. Deserve is a funny statement, but what you need. So I don't have the luxury, first and foremost, to ever get burnt out. I have a lot of people riding on my shoulders. I don't have the luxury to get burnt out. Number two, I can't get burnt out because I love what I do. And I consciously chose to do it, so I could be doing something else. If I wanted to play golf and fish 3-4 days a week, I probably could, if I really, really wanted to. But what purpose does that have? Right? So God created me with this much passion, energy, strength, to do what? To go fishing? Or is it to help humanity and to make a difference and to help my family, to help patients, to help people like you be better people, right? So if I'm here for a purpose, also a reason I can't get burnt out. So if you have a purpose, if you have a direction, if you have a mission with core values, you don't get burnt out. Because in your opinion, you look at life, I'm not even doing enough. So it's hard to get burned out when you don't feel like you're working. So it goes back to the positive mindset. If I say, woe's me, look at the hours you're working. Woe's me, look how tired I am. Oh, I'm such a hard worker. Maybe I should take some time off. Right, so that's a negative mindset, right? Like, that's me. So that's you know, the two souls we have. One says, you're here for a higher purpose, and the other animal soul says, me. It's all about me. So when I employ me, then it's hard for me to give and give out. So I have a chance to creep in, decrease motivation, that burnt out feeling. I have to be here. Trust me when I tell you, by conscious choice, to be here because I want to be here and because I have to be here because I need a paycheck. That is night and day, because I've worked for a paycheck before. And thank God I've been blessed with the ability to get past that and build different income streams and help enough people where I'm not here for a paycheck. I'm here because I want to be here. And that's a life-changing mindset. Now, yes, because I've been blessed, but also because the mindset is I'm here for others, so I don't have time to be burnt. I take my little vacations. You know, I take my little quick power nap, especially in the tanning bed. It's really great. You know, I highly recommend it. You know, 2-for-1 special. You get a tan and you take a nap. So I love tanning beds. So they're fantastic. Oh yeah. There's and now tanning bed places make red light, so there's a lot of healing properties, and there's no UV light, so it's red light. So there's a lot of healing circulation going on, and I'm taking a nap. So talk about restorative. So that's my burnt out moment. I'm a little tired. Okay, let me rejuvenate, and guess what? Come back strong again the next day. Because it's not about me. It's hard to get burnt out when you love what you do, you're here for other people, and there's a purpose that's higher power. There's no burnt out.
What about those who feel stuck and aren't really sure if that's what they like to do, but that's just, maybe it pays well, and that's just, they have to get through it, you know, like, but they're already stuck in this for 5-10 years.
Right. So no one's stuck. Everything is a conscious choice. You are stuck in negativity. You are stuck in a career, you're stuck in a marriage, you're stuck in a relationship, you're stuck, you're stuck, you're stuck. No one is stuck. There are circumstances, and people can argue with me all day. It's still a conscious choice. No one is stuck. But I question why they're stuck. There's something there that's a block. And that's where mentors come from. That's where coaches come from. How do I get that person who feels that they're stuck away from being stuck? And if they could do it on their own, they would have been out already. So how do you accelerate a different pathway? You find coaches, mentors, to help you break down the pieces and the structures that are there in place of what got you stuck in the first place. So you ever seen somebody stuck like in a mud and they're just spinning the wheels? You've seen those, even a Jeep, right?
Yeah.
So what do? Well, sometimes they put chains around the tire, right? That's a method, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they put a board, right? They put a wooden board,
Yeah.
just for traction, right? Even one tire gets traction, you could get the rest of the truck moving, right? So what does a mentor do?
Gets one tire.
Gets one tire moving. Sometimes two, sometimes three, whatever. You get the point. Anytime you're spinning your wheels, there are ways and there are tools and there are lessons that we've talked about many times. There are things you could do, you're never stuck. So that person should see a mentor, because stuck for 1 year, another decade, that's not a good feeling. So imagine your attitude with others while you're stuck. Are you serving the way you should?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So not only are you stuck, but are you providing for your family? Are you showing up? Probably not.
Creating a backup track.
There's going to be a backup.
Yeah.
So whether it's your family, your friends, interpersonal relationship with your spouse, there's a lot of places where it shows up. Co-workers.
Yeah, workplace, yeah.
So, it's okay to be stuck for a moment. It's okay to spin your wheels for a moment. It's okay to be negative for a moment. But you can't stay in that state for very long. And that's the difference between great mindset, speakers, mentors, and the average public. Speakers, positive people who teach this all the time, have flexed those muscles enough to pull people out of the mud. And we don't stay in a state too long. You've seen me at my upset moments. You've seen me at my angry moments. But they're moments, and they're fleeting. They're transient. I have tools to pull myself out. But I'm human, just like anybody else. I'll get upset. I'll get sad for a moment. I'll be upset that something happened, but I won't stay there. And you'll hear Tony Robbins and some other big speakers, like, we're human. We go through the exact same thing you go through, just for a lot shorter period of time. Any other questions? Yes,
One
ma'am.
more. You have a lot of young people working for you who are just starting out in their careers. It's very important for them to save for their future. Otherwise, they're not going to have a future. What do you recommend for the person that's just starting out? Their money's going to rent and bills, and they find it very hard to save.
Okay. So that's a wonderful question. I answer this almost daily. Okay. We're a spend first, save last society. We are the biggest consumers on the planet. What we make, the smallest, whatever the smallest, what do they call it, minimum wage. In another country, they would live like a king with our minimum wage. Do you know why minimum wage keeps going up? Well, we're trying to buy votes. That's besides the point. I don't want to get too political. But your minimum wage could work. You decided it could work because you had to have the latest fashion, electronics, this, that. You had to go out, you got to party. Yeah. All right? But in reality, in other countries, we don't have such luxuries. You are born into a time period of the richest country at the richest time ever in history. I'm talking about per capita. Kings were rich, other people were poor. That's true. There were kings richer than richer than Bill Gates, relatively speaking, at that time. But the people were poor. Our minimum wage people here, sorry, you could argue with me all day. You could make work a lot more than you are. You just don't. There are ways to save. So if people budgeted and took straight off the top, there's your savings. But you don't. And then I hear every excuse in the book why you couldn't save, because it's left to the end. But if you took it off the top, you would find a way to make 70% of your check work. 20% should be in a savings account. Sorry, excuse me, and not just a savings account to the bank, because banks are evil. Do not keep your money in the bank. They are raping you for your money. So they're taking your money as a middleman. They are B-rated companies, your bank is, and they take your money to A-rated companies, and they make a lot of money on your money, and they give you nothing. Isn't that great? Right? What a great business. So, I coach this all the time. So if you young people find a way to take off the top and put in something that actually grows your money while you're sleeping. So none of you have experienced this yet as young people, but there's nothing better than having what's called mailbox money. You're like, wow, how do I get this money? By putting in something where it grows with compound interest while you're sleeping, while you're playing, while you're working. Okay, your money grows just by being in something that, in a vehicle that grows. And then 10 years later, you're like, wow, my money doubled exponentially. Wow, look at this growth. Wow, 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 wow. All because I sacrificed a little bit. Excuse me.
You want some water?
Okay.
Richard, grab the man some water.
No, my bottle's right there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Excuse me. A little time out. So it's very important. Shameless plug for 9.5 pH water.
They didn't pay you for that.
No.
One day you will pay Dr. Slava. So,
Hashtag sponsorship.
hashtag sponsorship. So it's very important to take some of your money off the top, put it somewhere where it grows and grows and grows and grows. And then one day you combine some of that money, and hopefully it's tax-free. And you've heard my spiels of the vehicles out there that are tax-free, right? That grows, and then you take it and you buy real estate. And you put into things that make you money, you know, like, and then more grows. So you have some of that money growing. You have real estate, which is an asset that brings you money, and that grows. And now you may even have a job or a business or whatever. Now you have 3 streams of income coming in. So I don't know about you, but sometimes 3 streams of income is better than 1 stream of income. And especially that you didn't have to work for any of it, right? Just by being an investor. That's another thing that you kids don't know about. You don't know what the term invest means. You think invest means I need those latest Jordans or Louis Vuitton or Gucci. That's not investing. Those are called liabilities. Those are not assets. Assets bring you a return. A liability is I pay for it, it brings me nothing, and I spend a lot of money for nothing for it. And I can't even really afford it. Yet I spent it anyway. And that's why they don't have a savings account. And that's why they make every excuse in the book. However, compared to previous generations, when 5 of you live in one apartment and you share one Toyota Prius, and, you know, the plug-ins instead of going to a gas station. You know, I mean, you guys have so much money hand over fist. You just have to utilize it. And have a mentor, again, to help you guide you. Good?
Good, good stuff.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, that's good.
Like and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. If you're listening, make sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you for listening to The Time Is Now with me, Dr. Slava Shutt. Remember to tune in every Friday at 2 p.m. and send in your questions to Dr. Slava Shutt on Twitter. Thank you, thank you, thank you.